The Werewolf Curse. At St. Benedict's Academy, nothing is ever as it seems. The old boarding school, nestled deep in the mountains, carries centuries of legends, whispered among students for generations. The creaking floors, the shadowy hallways, and the distant howls carried by the wind at night all tell a story of strange happenings. Some say the school is haunted, others believe ancient curses are hidden within its walls. But for Maya and her friends, these were just tales until they were called into the headmaster's office one stormy evening. The headmaster's call. Maya, Jake, Grace, and Ethan had barely caught their breath after their last adventure with the succubus's tome when the new headmaster, Mr. D. Potts, urgently summoned them. The rain pelted the windows as they made their way to his office, the air heavy with the kind of tension that made the hair on their necks stand on end. "Thank you for coming," Mr. Potts began, his normally cheerful face lined with worry. "I need your help once again. But this time, it's not just the school at stake, it's me." The group exchanged nervous glances as Mr. Potts continued. "There's a curse on St. Benedict's, one that's existed for centuries. A group of students from long ago were transformed into werewolves. Each generation, the curse seeks new victims, and this time, it's come for me. If we don't break it before the next full moon, I'll become one of them." The room fell silent. "I've tried to solve this mystery myself," Mr. Potts admitted. "But there's one problem. The library, where the secret to lifting the curse is hidden, has a magical barrier that only allows children to access it at certain times. The hidden part of the library only appears on specific nights, under the right conditions. Tonight is one of those nights. The forbidden library." Maya and her friends felt a chill run down their spines. Breaking a centuries-old curse sounded terrifying, but knowing their headmaster's fate depended on them gave them no choice. Later that night, when the clock struck midnight, the group snuck into the library. The regular rows of bookshelves stood still, but then, at the far end of the room, a wall shimmered and shifted. A hidden door appeared, leading them into a forgotten section of the library, one that hadn't been seen for generations. The air inside was cold, and the faintest sound of growling could be heard echoing in the distance. "This is it," whispered Jake, his voice trembling. The group cautiously entered, their footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. The walls were lined with ancient books, their spines cracked with age. Grace shivered. "It feels like we're being watched." And she wasn't wrong. The cursed students, now werewolves, roamed these hidden halls at night, guarding the very secrets Maya and her friends needed to uncover. The curse unveiled. As they scoured the dusty shelves, Ethan discovered an old, weathered book with strange markings on the cover. "This must be it," he said, pulling it down. The book contained a series of spells and ancient potions, and among them, a recipe to break the werewolf curse. But there was a catch: the potion needed a rare flower called the moon blossom, which only bloomed at the stroke of midnight, under the full moon, deep in the school's garden. As they read the instructions, the distant growling grew louder. The werewolves were closing in. The group had no time to waste. The race for the moon blossom. Leaving the library behind, they raced through the dark hallways of St. Benedict's, heading for the old garden at the back of the school. The moon hung full and bright in the sky, casting long shadows across the grounds. "There it is," Maya cried, spotting the glowing moon blossom among the overgrown vines. But just as they reached for the flower, the werewolves emerged from the shadows, their eyes glowing fiercely in the moonlight. The group froze, unsure what to do. But Maya, remembering what Mr. Potts had told them about the curse, shouted, "We're not your enemies. We're here to help." For a moment, the werewolves hesitated, their growls fading into low whines. It was as if the cursed students recognized their intentions. Quickly, Maya grabbed the moon blossom, and the group sprinted back to the library. They had everything they needed to create the potion, but time was running out, the full moon was at its peak, and Mr. Potts's transformation was imminent. The final spell. Back in the library, the group worked frantically, following the ancient recipe. The air grew thick with tension as shadows flickered around them, the werewolves closing in. But Maya, Jake, Grace, and Ethan didn't falter. As they finished brewing the potion, the werewolves appeared at the edge of the room, watching them with glowing eyes. Mr. Potts had told them the potion wouldn't just lift his curse, but also free the cursed students, returning them to their human forms. With a deep breath, Maya poured the potion over the cursed book where the original spell had been written. There was a sudden burst of light, and the werewolves howled, a sound filled with relief rather than pain. Then, as the light faded, the werewolves began to change. Slowly, one by one, they transformed back into students, their centuries-old curse finally broken. Mr. Potts, who had been watching from a distance, let out a sigh of relief as the transformation stopped before it could take hold of him. A new chapter. The next morning, the school felt different. The air was lighter, the shadows seemed less menacing, and the mysterious, cursed part of the library had vanished. Mr. Potts thanked Maya and her friends for their bravery, promising that their story would be remembered for generations to come. But Maya and her friends knew better than anyone at St. Benedict's Academy, there would always be another mystery, another secret waiting to be uncovered. The school might have been saved from the werewolf curse, but who knew what other dark forces still lingered in the shadows, waiting for the next group of brave students to rise to the challenge.